I'm Kevin Zelko, a Seattle realtor, and this is For the Love of the Neighborhood, where I tour different Seattle neighborhoods. Give it a subscribe or a follow to look at all my other tours I've done. Is West Seattle really an island? Is there really 70% of all Seattle's green space in West Seattle alone? Let's answer those questions and more. Let's answer those questions. Why, yes, West Seattle is indeed an island. It's surrounded by water with an industrial bridge bringing you to the neighborhood. Sea views and beaches are there, wonderful hiking trails, and you can take an island to another island via the ferry, or you can get there by the water taxi from Seattle itself. These industrial entry to get to West Seattle always makes me smile as I wonder what's being made inside the factories. West Seattle is perfectly located right across Elliott Bay from downtown Seattle, and you just need to look any which way and you can pretty much find an amazing view. West Seattle is just south of the Puget Sound and just west of Columbia City, and then just north of Burien, and again with the Puget Sound on its western coast. It's so close to downtown that you can take a 20-minute bus from the junction to downtown, and it's so easy to go to a game or anything you'd like to do downtown. All throughout West Seattle, you'll often find these boxes that are painted with famous musicians and artists and cultural figures. It's one of my favorite parts about West Seattle, a little secret there. Always one of my favorite West Seattle kind of sub-neighborhoods is the Admiral District. And when we're talking Admiral District, it's such well located in West Seattle to get transit in and out of West Seattle over to the rest of the city, but it also has an amazing nightlife. Circa is one of the spots, but just the movie theaters here, lots of great restaurants, a very walkable section of West Seattle, and it's just a great spot to be located in. So check out the Admiral District. Most of my friends know I love these old theaters, and the Admiral Theater doesn't disappoint. It's so nice in there. And the Admiral is very walkable. It's not too hilly, and it makes for great scenery. Hit up Circa. It's one of my favorite bars and restaurants in the entire city, in fact. And there's just a number of excellent options for restaurants. Like you go to Moto Pizza, you might have to order a little bit early online to get it, but it's so special and delicious. Good Society is an excellent brewery. There's just a Ben Bao room. You can play some amazing video games, and excellent pasta and pizza can be found quite easily. There are some amazing coffee shops as well, just like you'll find at West Seattle grounds, and more pasta. And then let's talk dive bars. The Admiral is one of your classic dive bars in this city. The Admiral is also filled with some excellent grocery options, so feel free to hit up whatever style grocery store you like. They have big corporate ones and smaller ones like these two here I show. PCC is wonderful. And I would say the third larger neighborhood in West Seattle is the Junction. And the Junction is another kind of center of commerce. You'll have lots of bars and restaurants, grocery, a little bigger than the other two areas of Alki, or when we're talking the Admiral. And so the Junction is a lot more busier and a lot more active. You can see the beverage place. And yes, the Junction is definitely where the action is. The farmers market's there on the weekends. It's a wonderful place to get any kind of fruits and vegetables. Hot foods are even there, arts and crafts. I also love this intersection. It's an all-ways intersection where traffic stops and you can cross whichever way you want. Always a blast. It's also where you'll find some of the best record stores and bars and restaurants and arts and crafts stores and pie stores. It's definitely where the heart of all the action is in West Seattle. Great barbecue, Lady J, excellent old brew pub, one of the oldest in the city, and huge pizzas here. Ito's holds a special place in my heart as a Japanese fusion with Moroccan. Wonderful wine there as well. And you can also get delicious Thai at Buddha Ruska, one of the best in the city. And I mentioned Easy Street Records earlier. That is definitely a place where you can find all kinds of old records and musical items you might be shopping. And check out the alley, which looks like Bonjour Vietnam. Go in the back and you'll find the speakeasy back there. Till Dawn has all-night coffee and video games. Wonderful place. And New Luck Toy has excellent Chinese food. I love finding that. Beverage Place, excellent place for beers, ciders, wonderful beer community events. It's an excellent place to check out. And if you haven't been yet, head there right away. The owner is a wonderful man named Gary. Tell him I sent you. Here's some more places around West Seattle that I really do enjoy. Not so much in the Junction always. I'm a really big fan of Enderlin Joe's. That's where you go if you get a ferry to Vashon. And Super Deli Mart. You can find a lot of to-go beers, but excellent sandwiches and real fine coffee. And the local are two of my favorite little spots, just neighborhood cuties. And Westy, get the broccoli. It's so good. And you can go bowling at the West Seattle Bowl. It's a blast. And also eat up at the Spot, or you could try Luna Park Cafe, which is legendary in Seattle history. The Skylark has live music, which is wonderful, and Ounces has excellent tap room and a beer garden. And here we are at Alki Beach. I am standing in one of my favorite historical spaces in Seattle, here in West Seattle at the memorial recognizing where the Denny party landed on the schooner Exact in 1851. It was around in late November, and they landed here on the shores of West Seattle, down in Alki. Obviously, they didn't stay here. They ended up moving into the downtown area behind us, where they formally settled West Seattle. West Seattle was then incorporated in 1905-ish, might have been 1907. But we just need to recognize the Duwamish were here far before that and lived here, and initially pushed off and all the way removed from the land. So this memorial memorializes the Duwamish here and recognizing that, but also where the Denny party landed and the story of white settlement in Seattle started. It's always nice seeing a little piece of New York in Seattle for all those East Coasters out there, isn't it? But this memorial is where the history of Seattle really does start. They also have a time capsule at this memorial that they plan to open up, I believe, in the next 10, 15 years. I hope to be there and see what's inside. Alki offers these wonderful walks or runs, as I mentioned, and with all this history and the views and the Puget Sound roaring and next to you, it's really wonderful. You'll see wildlife all the time down here on the beach. It's also where Seattleites go for beaches, and during the summer, it's a hot time down here. The Alki area does get busy during the summer because of that, so choose if you want to head there by car or not. I like to go to Future Primitive and grab a beer or two and just take in the vibes. Another great spot is El Chupacabre, which is also on Alki, and you can get wonderful Mexican food there, and they do have some great vegetarian options, so please check them out. I also really love to spend time in West Seattle at one of the other arcades that is just recently opened, and it's right on Alki Beach. Happy Lemon has delicious ice cream, just opened. Driftwood has nice cocktails, and brunch is easily found around these areas too. I'm over here in Alki, and as you can see, it's just gorgeous out. I just literally saw an otter cross the street from these cute old homes in Alki and run into the Puget Sound. I've never seen an otter myself in Seattle, but yeah, there's something new every day. Alki Beach as a neighborhood is just a little mini beach town in West Seattle, and it feels that way. You can grab a beer at Future Primitive, grab some pizza, nice little tiny nightlife, but it actually has a real beach, and probably one of the best beaches in Seattle, and people will treat it like that during the summer. Really fun out here in Alki, and just like these kind of older homes show, it keeps that old flavor of old West Seattle. It's also where where Seattle itself was founded, so pretty interesting. But check out Alki Beach. It's a great little neighborhood. Here's that other arcade I mentioned. I love it. Also, just down a little bit more along the Alki pathway, you'll find the locks that kind of tell you that people really do love coming to this area and leaving a piece of them, whether it's a lock or a piece of their heart, as they take in the beautiful views. Great fish and chips at Salty's or Marination. This is one of my favorite restaurants in Seattle with amazing views of the city, and you can get the ferry brings you right there. Sorry, the Seattle taxi, just across the water. But the food at Marination blows my mind. Look at these sexy tofu tacos. There they are, and a nice guava juice too. Then you can head back on the water taxi, as I mentioned. It takes you right into downtown Seattle. This is the easiest way to get to West Seattle, don't need to drive. You could come over just for some restaurants and views. Maybe you can even go fishing, as you'll often see fishers trying to get their daily catch. And the West Seattle water taxi does take Orca cars, which is pretty cool. West Seattle has so many amazing views from so many different parts of the neighborhood. It's really wonderful to go and just find a sea view, a city view. They're quite abundant. One of my favorite things when I first moved to Seattle, we're seeing these giant cranes used for shipping crates. And just watching them, I would come up to one of the hills up here and just watch the large shipping containers come in and out. It's very neat, very industrial, but the little quidbit that I've always loved is that it's rumored that George Lucas built the AT-ATs in Empire Strikes Back after a trip to Seattle and seeing these. And when you see them, you can't unsee it. It's pretty remarkable as a Star Wars fan, movie buff. But it's great to be over here by Salty's and just taking in the views. Loving for the love of the neighborhood in West Seattle. More hiking trails, more scenic views. It just doesn't stop. Today I'm at Camp Long, which is currently doing some renovations, but this park is just so massive. You can do lots of hiking and there's tons of trails, some great sights, and just a really neat park. Along with Lincoln Park is also massive. West Seattle, as I mentioned earlier, does carry 70% of the green space in all of Seattle itself. So there's just tons of hiking and just outdoor activities that are available in those parks. So go check them out. The Troll is an amazing site over in Lincoln Park, and it's just pretty fascinating walking along the water over there, along the Puget Sound, and seeing the islands on the other side of Vashon. Just gorgeous. So get out, see it. With all these green spaces, it makes for brilliant hikes almost daily if you wanted them. And I really love the Puget Sound side of West Seattle. The beaches over there are just beautiful, and lots of homes are on those beaches. Here's the Troll I mentioned in Lincoln Park. He's pretty cool. Go check him out. There's about 5 of these in the city of Seattle itself. And here's the Vashon Island Ferry that takes you over to the wonderful island of Vashon. Excellent communities over there and lots of island life that's just its own flavor you won't find in other islands. I mentioned these homes that are on this side of West Seattle, and just along the beach, there's some really neat homes over to you. You'll see them in a little bit here. And it's really interesting just to see how you can walk to all of them when you're getting to view them. There's lots of different interesting walkways that feel kind of like a maze to get to the right house you're looking for. And here's a quirky house in West Seattle that always brings smiles. It's just tons of art and flavor and messages of love. And it really is a big part of what it's like to live here in Seattle. But this house has been there for a couple decades and just gets more interesting and interesting. You can always find something new, and the love messages are really wonderful. It makes you feel good when you go and look inside that mirror. Nice feelings in this neighborhood. This artist has been there for decades, as I mentioned, and really enjoys people saying hi to her and interacting with the art. It's really wonderful from what the neighbors tell me. And there's a book bin there. This is one of Seattle's special secrets, is you can always bring a book and trade it with the library. They're really cute when you see them in our neighborhoods. And speaking of homes, let's look at some Seattle housing stats for West Seattle. You can see that West Seattle homes, the median price is $850,000 and about 12 days on the market when they do come on. There are also 75% of the homes in West Seattle are single family homes. You'll find quite the variety of home styles in West Seattle, and the average home is from 1971. So you will find a lot of older homes in West Seattle, mixed in with some new builds, which are starting to pop up more and more. And all those homes are, again, surrounded by that 70% of green spaces right here in West Seattle. It just amazes me every time I hear it. In West Seattle, townhomes average at median price at $695,000. And you won't find as many of them around, as it only makes up about 5 to 10% of Seattle houses in West Seattle. But we have seen more and more of these popping up as they turn some older homes into townhomes. And again, all kinds of style on these townhomes. And condos make up about 20% of the homes in West Seattle, and they you will find all kinds of styles here as well. Older condos that are from the 1940s, or newer ones that are modern, maybe from the mid 2000s on up to what you'll find today. And these condos out on the pier just blow my mind. Thanks for watching For the Love of the Neighborhood. It was great touring West Seattle. Please give my channel a like, a follow, and keep following me as I tour different Seattle neighborhoods. Also, if you have any friends who are looking for real estate in the Seattle area, feel free to send them my way. And if they mention your name, you might win a trip to Disneyland. Check out my website for that information. Please enjoy Seattle as much as I do. And thank you for spending time with me for the love of the neighborhood. Seattle is where my heart is. Leave a comment with some of your favorite places in West Seattle that I might have missed. I'd love to go find and learn more about those places too.